Okay, today we're going to talk about altitude hold and the misconceptions that people have about what it is. This is probably the question that gets asked by new flyers that just happen by the channel. They'll watch a video and then they'll ask a question. I get a lot of questions about that altitude hold, so I just want to clear up a couple of different things about it. And I've got some different quads here to demonstrate, what kind of quads or what quads have this, what quads don't. Now this video is, most of the people that I know that come by the channel and that I go to their channel, they know this stuff already. This is for new users. Okay, I like new users because, the way I look at it, the more the merrier. Okay, I have no problem answering any questions from anybody. I don't think I've ever got a question since I started this channel a month and a half ago. I don't think there was ever a time I ever didn't answer a question from somebody. I answer every question. No matter if it sounds stupid or not, I don't give a crap. I just answer it anyway. So I want to talk about this altitude hold because a lot of people don't, they have questions about it. They say that quad does this, quad does that. So I'm going to answer some questions in this video about that. Okay, altitude hold, the myth number one here. Altitude hold is not position hold, and it's not GPS lock. And that's what a lot of the new people, they ask about that. Altitude hold is just what it is. It just holds the altitude. All altitude hold quads, they drift. And the big mistake I see when I go to the park and I see other people flying, one of the first mistakes they make is they sit there and say they get a quad that has like an 8-minute battery life. So they take the thing up in the air and it starts moving this way, moving that way. So they spend 4 minutes of their 8 minutes trying to trim out the drift. Well, that's not going to work because all altitude hold quads drift because they don't have position hold. They don't have GPS lock. So they're all going to go and drift this way and drift that way because of the wind. If you have any kind of wind blowing to your left or your right or front back, they're going to drift that way. You're going to sit there and do what I call the battle of the trim buttons. You're going to sit there and try to trim out wind, and then 5 seconds later, you think, oh, I got it. Okay, then the wind changes direction a little bit, so then the thing starts drifting the other way. So you're never gonna trim out wind. That's never going to happen. So you're wasting your time even doing that. The best thing you can do is when you have one of these altitude hold quads, every time you go to the park or wherever you go to fly and you go to take off, always reset the gyros. Always do that first because that'll put you, if you just put it back to the factory spec, that'll put you pretty damn close to where you need to be to take off. I always carry I take a board with me, a little wooden board that set it on the ground, and I set the quad on there, and I always reset the gyros on there before I take off. So you take off, and then you sit there with the trim button. Oh, it's going this way, it's going that way. The best trim button you have on an altitude hold quad is your thumb. You just have to learn to deal with the ebb and flow of the quad. That's just something you just have to learn, and that just comes with practice. So I'm going to just show you an example of some altitude hold quad here. This is a great altitude hold quad right here. This is that Beiyang Toys X16. It's super nice. Okay, this is something I would recommend if somebody's looking to buy like an $150 type of a quad with the brushless motors. The altitude hold on here is solid as a rock. They even have a GPS version that costs a little bit more money, so you'd probably be going up to the 150. I got this for 120. That's not the GPS. But a lot of people, I mean a lot of people, always ask about this Bugs 3. This Bugs 3 is an awesome quad. This thing is bad as hell. But it doesn't have altitude hold. And I tell these people when they come to the channel and ask questions, oh, the Bugs 3, Bugs 3. The Bugs 3 is great. But this is not a beginner quad. This quad, if you don't have any quads, and you want to get into a quad, don't buy this to start out with. Because I guarantee you're going to tear it up. This is no frills as it gets. It has no help on it at all. And you can tell these ones that don't have the altitude hold by the stick. See the stick, how it flops up and down like that? It means it does not have altitude hold. This thing is difficult to fly if you've never flown a quad before. It's going to be hard for you to be able to deal with it. I mean, it's nice as hell, don't get me wrong. I love this thing. But you're way better off buying something like this if you were going to go for something more than a toy grade or whatever. You're better off with this X16 than you are the Bugs 3. Okay, now some of these quads actually have more than just the altitude hold. They have what's called the position hold, and that would be this XKX300. This quad is one of my favorites. It's super nice. I love it. Now, right there, it has the optical flow sensor. Now, what that does is that shoots pictures constantly back to the little CPU in there, and that's how it holds its position. Now, they even tell you in the manual, if you were to get something like this, that once you take this off, it takes about 30 seconds of just flying it around for it to kind of like read all the pictures and read the terrain before it'll start sitting still. When you first take it off, it'll act a little wonky at first, go forward, backwards, dip a little, go up a little. And then once the computer can read all the data from the ground, then it'll start sitting still. So if you get it and you take off and it starts wonking around, don't worry. It says it right in the manual that it takes that 30 seconds or so for it to read all the terrain. But this has the air pressure altitude hold in it too. It doesn't just have the optical flow. The optical flow is for the position hold. It has the air pressure altitude hold in it also. But that's just to keep it so the wind don't wonk it around. And then of course you got your ones with the GPS. You got your Phantoms, and then you got the Bebop. I still have the mod kit on here because I haven't, the weather's been so bad I haven't been able to get back to the creek because I wanted to shoot some video over there, so I just left it on until this weather clears up. Okay, so that's the common misconception, is that these altitude hold quads are supposed to just sit there. They don't. Okay, they're gonna walk all over the place. You know, they're not real bad, but if you get them tuned in right, they're gonna drift no matter what. Okay. So, just so you know that, then you're not gonna have a problem as long as you realize that. The next thing I want to talk about with this is flyaways. If you watch these YouTube videos, the majority of these flyaways are with these altitude hold quads. These ones with this the air pressure altitude hold. And that's because of barometric pressure. The barometric pressure, once you get up too high, and most of these flyaways, these people are taking these altitude hold quads too high. You know, you get some young guy there, he gets some altitude hold quad like this, and then he wants to, you know, show off to his friends and go up there and intercept freaking Halley's Comet, okay? And then the thing disappears. That's because the atmospheric pressure changes up there. So you take the quad, you take off from, you know, right in front of you, the barometric pressure is what it is. So that's what this thing is going to be looking for as far as that. You take these things 300 feet up in the air, and that atmospheric pressure changes, this thing is going to go around looking for that atmospheric pressure that it found, that it took off from. And it'll just keep flying around until it finds it. So you take them up 200 feet, 300 feet in the air, that atmospheric pressure changes, or there's some storm going on over here or over there, you lose your signal, that thing's gone. Okay, it's gonzo. It's never coming back. You'll never see it again, because what it's going to do is just going to keep flying until it finds that barometric pressure that it thinks it needs to find. So it's not just like going to drop out of the sky, because it has this barometric pressure altitude hold. So you just got to be careful with these altitude hold quads taking them too high. You know, you really shouldn't take these things up to these crazy ass levels if you're a new flyer, because you're just looking for trouble, and you're going to lose your quad. And that's just the way it is. I mean, that's just, I've seen so many of these YouTube videos, just watching. These people get these little $100 SEMAs, you know, and they think, oh, I'm gonna go up here and go to the moon, and then they never see the damn thing again. That's because of barometric pressure. You know, that's because of air pressure. So I hope you learned a little bit of something on this, you new flyers. Ask any questions you want. But that's the reason you get the flyaways. It's because you're going up too high, and the air pressure up there changes. And like I said earlier in the video, you're never going to trim out drift. You're never going to do that. You're just wasting your time. Just get used to maneuvering the quad, keeping it steady on your own, or keeping it within reason on your own. And always fly into the wind. Okay? Always remember that. You go out to your field, wherever you're going, whichever way the wind's blowing, if it's blowing in your face, that's the way you want to take off from. Because if you get too high and it gets carried away and you're too far and you lose the signal, at least the wind can blow the quad back to you if you have no control. And then that way you have a chance to maybe regain the signal, you know, turn the controller off, turn it back on, repair it while it's coming back in the wind. If you fly with the wind at your back, it's gone, okay? You're most likely never going to see it again. All right, everybody. I'm going to be getting my, I think the unique Typhoon's coming tomorrow. I got an email from FedEx. And one more thing is I want to give a shout out to Gadget Inspector. Go check out his channel. It's awesome. He has got a lot of cool stuff. But he just started a series on the Bebop 2. And I think part 1 he just put up today. So go over there and check it out. And he did a series. If you have an Up Air 1, I know Birdman, you have one of those. So you might want to go check out. He's got like a 10-part series on the Up Air 1, which is really good. So you should go check it out. He's a good guy, and he has some real nice videos. And he's got real nice production quality too. So you might want to check that out. All right, everybody. Have a good evening. I'm going to go finish watching the hockey game. I'll talk to you later.